Hello, sports fans. It's me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke, with another card and dice game for you. Got an interesting matchup for you this time. Most people think about the 27, when they think of 1927, they think of the 27 Yankees. But what I'm going to do this in this particular game is I'm going to put up the 1927 Philadelphia A's, who were also a very good team. And they're going to play the 1938 Yankees, and this would be the Babe Ruth-less Yankees. And I'm going to use the DH, even though neither of these teams ever used a DH, because they're both American League teams, and in the modern day, the American League uses the DH. And on top of that, these two high-powered offenses are going to go up against not either team's ace. For the Philadelphia A's, they will be sending up Sam Gray. And there's Sam Gray's card. And he was only 9 and 6 with a 453 earned run average and 133 innings pitched. And the Yankees are going to send up Spud Chandler, who had a good win-loss record, but that's because he was on the 1938 Yankees. But even he had a 4-5 record with a 403 earned run average. So this should be an interesting matchup because we're taking two great powerhouse offensive teams from history, and we're pitching their like maybe possibly fourth starting pitchers against each other. And these were the packets. These are packets for the team, so there's the team records for comparison of how good they were. So they were both very good teams. And again, like with a couple of my past games, there will be a lot of Hall of Famers in this game. So let's get underway with this. The first batter for the Yankees is going to be George Selkirk. And he gets a 4-9 on Sam Gray, and that's going to be a fly ball center field. So he flies out to 8. The next batter is Tommy Henrik. He gets a 4-7, and that's a triple 1-3 single. He gets a single. And that'll be the first hit allowed by Gray. Brings up Joe DiMaggio, Joltin' Joe DiMaggio. And he gets a 6-7, and that's a single 1-14. And that's going to be an out. That's a line out to third base. So this could really have been a lot worse than it has so far. Lou Gehrig is up, and he gets a 2-11, and that's a ground ball shortstop A. 6-3. So the mighty Yankee offense comes away with nothing off of the not all that great Sam Gray. That's going to bring up Max Bishop. And I'm not going to show every card like I have in the past, but man, look at that card. I love that on-base card. I would love to have a guy like that in my regular league. Max Bishop gets a 4-10 off Spud Chandler, which is a line out to second base. That brings up Ty Cobb, and he gets a 5-7, which is a single off of Chandler. So both teams' second hitters get singles. First hit allowed for Spud. Al Simmons comes up, and he gets a 6-7, which is a second base X. The second baseman for the Yankees is a 2, and that's a 3 and a 2, and that's going to be an out double play. So Al Simmons gets into a 4-6-3 double play. And that brings no runs in for the mighty A lineup, or A's Athletics lineup. Bill Dickey is up. A really good card. 4-11 is a pitcher X. Gray is a 3 pitcher. That's a 10-3 is probably something there. No, it's an out. One away. So Bill Dickey gets out 1-3. And that brings up Joe Gordon, and he gets a 5-4, which is a center field X, and the center fielder is a, for the A's, is a 2. And that's an out. 2 away. Joe Gordon with a fly out to center. And Red Rolf is up, and he gets a 4-4, and that is a pop out to shortstop. Pop out to 6. So that Yankees lineup is held down again by Sam Gray. Jimmy Dykes steps up, and he gets a 2-10, which is a ground ball shortstop A, 6-3. Jimmy Fox. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that was Jimmy Dykes, so Jimmy Fox gets a 6-8, and that's a double 1-12 single. And that is a double. Jimmy Double X Fox. Second hit off Chandler. Man at second was on 1 out. Eddie Collins. 3-5 is a walk. So Chandler allows the second guy on, and there's Mickey Cochran is up now, and he gets a 3-9. That's a second base A double play. So 4-6-3. And the mighty A's go down. So these not so great pitchers on these stabs are really doing quite well. Merrill Hogue for the Yankees gets a 6-7, and that's a single 1-14. And that's an 8, so that's a single. Merrill Hogue with a single. And he is the left fielder today. That brings up Frankie Crosetti. He gets a 6-9, which is a walk off of Sam Gray. So the not-so-greatness of Sam Gray is starting to show through here. George Selkirk, 6-6, is a shortstop X, and the shortstop is a 4 because it's Eddie Collins, because they wanted to get his bat into the lineup, and that's a 17-4, which is a 2-base error by Eddie Collins. So Selkirk is on by a 2-base error by the shortstop, and we have to mark that down. Eddie Collins with an error, and a run comes in, but it's not an earned run and not an RBI. And there is no outs. Tommy Henrik is up, and he gets a 3-2, which is a pop out to first base. So that's 1 away. Pop out to 3. That brings up Joe DiMaggio, Joltin' Joe. 1-4 is a home run. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio hits a 3-run home run. So that is 4 runs in right now, and Sam Gray gives up another hit and an earned run. Yeah, let's see. He, well, 3 of those runs are still earned. That brings up Lou Gehrig, and Lou Gehrig gets a 5-12, which is a catcher. The catcher is Cochran, and he's a 1, and that's probably an out. Yep. Foul out, 2 away. Foul out to 2. And that brings up Bill Dickey, and he gets a 6-5, which is a pop out to first base. Pop out to 3. But that Yankee lineup finally broke through and got 4 runs. So now the question is, can the A's answer in kind with Walt French up, and they get a 3-4 and a single 1-4. And it's an out. So that's a line out to second base. Line out to 4, 1 away. Zach Wheat is up, and that's a 5-5 on Spud Chandler's, a fly ball center field. Fly out to 8. And that brings up Max Bishop, Mr. On Base, and he flies out to center field. So we have no runs coming across for the A's there. Top of the 4th. And that brings up Joe Gordon, and Joe Gordon gets a 1-12, which is a foul out to catcher. Foul out to 2. 1 away. Red Rolf gets a 4-10. That's a fly ball center field B. 2 away. And that brings up Merrill Hogue. And he gets a 4-8, which is a home run 1-2 or a fly ball. And that's a fly ball to left field. Fly out to 7. So no runs in for the Yankees there. And that brings up Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb gets a 3-11, which is a fly ball right field. Fly out to 9. Al Simmons gets a 4-5, which is a fly ball center field. And that brings up Jimmy Dykes. And Jimmy Dykes gets a 3-7, which is a single. So that's only the 3rd hit allowed by Spud Chandler. And that brings up Jimmy Fox. And Jimmy Fox gets a ground ball second base. 4-3. So they get no runs in the 4th. We go to the 5th. The Yankees in front 4-0, and Frank Crosetti, the shortstop, is up, and he gets a 2-3 line out to short. 1 away. Selkirk gets a 1-6 ground ball first base B. And that brings up Tommy Henrik, and Tommy Henrik gets a 4-8 home run 1-2. And that is a fly ball right field. Fly out to 9. No runs come in, and we're going to the bottom of the 5th in a 4-0 game. The Yankees in front of the A's, the 1938 Yankees in front of the 1927 A's. Eddie Collins is up. He gets a 6-7, which is a second base X. And their second baseman, I lost one of my guys. Their second baseman is a 2, and that's a 14-2. That might be something. It's an out. So Eddie Collins is grounding out 4-3. 1 away. Brings up Mickey Cochran. He gets a 2-12. That's a fly ball right field B. Fly out to 9. And that brings up Walt French, and he gets a 4-5, which is a fly ball center field B. No runs for the A's. Top of the 6th. The Yankees up. And up 4-0 with Joe DiMaggio. Joltin' Joe up, and he gets a single 1-19. And that is a single. 4 hits allowed by Gray. That brings up Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig gets a 1-9, which is a home run 1-11. And, nope, that's a double. So Gehrig doubles him. And that puts runners at 2nd and 3rd with no outs, and Bill Dickey up, and he gets 1-8, which is a walk to load the bases. And that is 2 more hits and a walk, and that's going to be it for Gray. So we're in the 6th, and there's no outs, so Gray only goes 5. And And they will bring in they're going to bring in Jing Johnson. Gotta feel like the Yankees are right on the verge of a big inning here. With Joe Gordon up and no outs, bases loaded, he gets a 3-4, which is a strikeout plus injury. So a strikeout for Jing Johnson, and the injury is a 15. So he's gone for a long time, and that is Joe Gordon was the second baseman. So they will find another second baseman. And that's going to be Bill Knickerbocker. So we'll write him in. And he is a second base 2, so they're not losing anything really defensively. Oh wait, no. Yeah, okay, yeah. Knickerbocker, second base 2. Alright, going in for Joe Gordon. So he struck out, so there is an out here with the bases still loaded. That brings up Red Rolf, and Red Rolf gets a 2-4, which is a walk and forces in a run. And is an RBI. And it's a walk for Jing Johnson, but it's an earned run for Sam Gray, and the bases are still loaded with Merrill Hogue up, and he gets a 4-7, which is a strikeout. And that's the second strikeout for Johnson in 3 guys he's faced. And Crosetti comes up, and Crosetti gets a 2-8, and that is a fly ball left field B. So, despite the fact that it could have been a lot worse, the Yankees only get 1 run there. And they now lead 5-0 over the A's. And Zach Wheat comes up, and he gets a 1-8, which is a pop out to first base. And there's 1 away. And that brings up Max Bishop. Max Bishop gets a 4-7, which is a single. And only the 4th hit allowed by Chandler. Ty Cobb is up, and he gets a 3-6, which is a walk. So there's 1 out and runners at first and second. And that brings up Al Simmons, and he gets a 6-8, and that's a double 1-12. And there is a double, and it knocks in a run. And that brings that runner around. It's another hit, and it's the first earned run. And Jimmy Dykes is up, and Jimmy Dykes gets a 6-2, which is a walk to load the bases with 1 out. They have a little bit of leeway that they can afford with Chandler, but a little bit. Jimmy Fox comes up, and he gets a 6-6, and that's a fly ball B, but that scores a runner on third. So that would be sac fly, and that scores the second run, and there is a second earned run there. And Eddie Collins is up, and he gets a 5-10, and that's a third base X. And the Yankees' third baseman is a 1. That's Red Rolf. And that may be an error, because I think that's a 9. And that is a 1-base error. Red Rolf making a 1-base error. So Eddie Collins is on E5. And now the bases are loaded again, and we have to mark down that that Red Rolf made an error. And that brings up Mickey Cochran, and he gets a 4-9, which is a single, and it drives in another run. course, it's an unearned run because they should have been out of the inning. But despite that, the run does come in. And Walt French is up, and there is a 6-11, and that's a walk. That forces in another run. So, and that's another unearned run. Oh. So they are going to take Spud Chandler out. And they will bring in, they're going to bring in Bump Hadley. And Chandler only goes 5 2/3. And that brings up Zach Wheat to bat against him, and that's a 4-10, which is a pop out to shortstop. So Zach Wheat got out twice this inning, but the A's do strike for 4, and they make it 5-4. And now that one run that the Yankees, that single run in the 6th when they could have had a lot more, is looming large. And George Selkirk is up. He gets a 2-8, which is a single. Hit allowed by Johnson. Henrik is up. He gets a 4-4, which is a third base. And third base is a 2 on this team, and that's a 6. And that'll probably be a double play. And it does appear to be. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, it is a double play. So, 5, 4, 3 double play. And that brings up Joltin' Joe, and he gets a walk. So DiMaggio walks. Second walk allowed by Jing Johnson, and that brings up Lou Gehrig, and Lou Gehrig gets a 5-7, which is a ground ball shortstop, and the shortstop is a 4. That's Eddie Collins. 20-4 he might have gotten him, he did. So Lou Gehrig gets out 6-3, and the Yankees score nothing in the 7th, and we go to the bottom of the 7th with the A's only down a run now. Max Bishop up, and he gets a 5-10, which is a shortstop. Their shortstop is a 2. That's Crosetti. 18-2 is probably an out, and it is. So, yeah, Bishop gets out 6-3. That brings up Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb gets a 6-3, which is a left field X. The left fielder is a left fielder for the Yankees is a 3, and that's a 3-3. That's probably an out, and it is. So that's 2 away. Fly ball 7. Fly out to 7. And that brings up Al Simmons, and he gets a 3-9, which is a single. That's the first hit given up by Hadley, and that brings up Jimmy Dykes. And Jimmy Dykes gets a fly ball center field B. Fly out to 8. No runs for the A's in the 7th. The Yankees coming up in the top of the 8th. Bill Dickey. Bill Dickey gets a triple 1-2 or a single. And that's a triple. So they are going to bring the infield in. Infield in for Bill Knickerbocker. 4-8 is a line out to shortstop, 1 away. They are still going to bring the infield in with Red Rolf up, and he gets a 1-9, which is a fly ball center field B, but that scores the run. 2 away. Jing Johnson gives up an earned run. And that brings up Merrill Hogue, who gets a 2-6, which is a single. So that's another hit given up by Jing Johnson, and that brings up Frank Crosetti, and he gets a 5-3. That's a first base X. First baseman is a 2, I believe. No, he's a 4. First base is a 4. That's an 11-4, and that is a 2-base error by Jimmy Fox. So Fox makes an error, and that's Crosetti, right? Yeah. E4. And now runners are at second and third with 2 outs, and Selkirk up, and he gets a 4-8, which is a line out to shortstop. But the Yankees do score another run, so now it's 6-4. Yankees going into the bottom of the 8th, with the A's coming up in the bottom of the 8th. And Jimmy Fox up, and he gets a 4-8. That's a triple 1-2 single off Hadley. And that'll be a single. Jimmy XX Fox with a hit. Second hit allowed by Hadley. Eddie Collins gets a 5-9. Shortstop. Their shortstop is a 2. And that's a 10. That's going to be big. That is a 2-base error. So both teams making a lot of errors here. Collins gets on. 5-9, shortstop E6, yeah. And their shortstop, Crosetti. So now they're going to bring the infield in with Mickey Cochran up, and he gets a 3-6, which is a ground ball shortstop A. 1 away, and I think that cut off the run. Let's see. Stealing, sacrifice, infield in, ground ball A, batter is out. Runner on third holds. Other runners advance, but they can't, so yeah. So that was Cochran. He grounded out to the second baseman, I guess. So Walt French is up, and there are 2 on with 1 out. And he gets a 4-3 on Hadley, which is a ground ball C, but the infield is still in. And let's see what that does. Out, runner on third holds. Okay, so ground out 6, whatever. Zach Wheat is up, and Zach Wheat gets a 1-7, which is a single 1-4, and he is out, and that is a line out to second base. So line out to 4. The A's do not score despite the fact that they really were threatening there with the help of the Yankee defense. And now Tommy Henrik comes up to lead off the 9th. 5-7 is a ground ball second base. Second baseman is a 2. That's a 3 and a 2. Probably an out at second base. And it is. So Henrik is 4-3. DiMaggio is up. He gets a 1-8, which is a double 1-6. And that's a single. So another base hit allowed by Jing Johnson, but they're going to stick with him. Lou Gehrig is up. He gets a 6-9. That is a single 1-17. And it is a hit. That's a second consecutive hit, and 1 out. And Bill Dickey up, and he gets a 5-7, which is a second base X, and he is a 2, and that's a 4. 4 and 2 at second base is an out double play. So 4-6-3. The Yankees go out. Bottom of the 9th. This is it right here. The A's have got to have 2 runs. to tie the game. And Max Bishop up against Hadley, and he gets a 1-9, which is a strikeout. So Hadley with a strikeout. He's pitched quite well. Ty Cobb is up, 6-7, single 1-6, and that is a single. Yeah, okay. And that's a base hit allowed by Hadley. Al Simmons is up. He gets a 5-9, which is a shortstop. Shortstop is a 2. He's already made an error, and that's a 14. 14 and 2 is an out double play, and I think that's going to be it, right? Yes, that is. 6-4-3. And that's the game. And the 38 Yanks have beaten the 27 A's 6-4 in what was a pretty good game, but the Yankees, again, the evil empire prevails. Hope you like that game. Again, if there's any matchups you want to see, let me know. I'd be happy to play them for you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to subscribe. You can leave a message for me, leave a note for me in the comments below, or you can email me at any of my contact information. And there's my contact information, my Twitter, my Instagram, and my email. So, for right now, it's me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke, signing off.